Today I will be reviewing the installation procedures for the inksupply.com Artisan 1430 CFS system. Please note, this video is not meant to be a replacement for the written instructions included with your system. Total install time should be less than 30 minutes from start to finish. I strongly recommend against starting the installation if you're pressed for time or may be frequently interrupted. Before proceeding, it is important to test your printer to make sure it is printing correctly. The best way to do this is first print a nozzle pattern using the printer driver's maintenance utility. You may need to run several cleaning cycles to correct any missing nozzles. Once a perfect nozzle pattern is achieved, print 5 copies of the Purge 6 image using plain paper and draft settings on the printer. It is important that all 5 pages print without banding or white spaces. You may need to install new genuine Epson cartridges if you're unable to get your printer to cleanly print 5 copies of the Purge pattern. If your printer is unable to print these 5 Purge pages, do not install the CFS. There are 3 basic tools that are required to install the CFS system: a flat tip screwdriver, scissors, and a ruler or tape measure. We recommend using a flat tip screwdriver with an 1/8 to 1/4 inch blade. You may also want to have paper towels and a marker handy, though they are not required. To get started, turn the printer on and press the cartridge change button. On the 1430, this is the rightmost button and will be designated by an ink droplet. Next, without turning the printer off, unplug the printer from the wall outlet. Now, open the printer carriage and locate the right hinge retaining clip. Using the screwdriver, gently pry the clip to the right. It will take a little bit of force, so be careful not to drop the clip into the printer when it releases. I prefer to loosen the clip with the screwdriver, then close the carriage lid and finish removing it with my fingers. This allows me to move the carriage over to a more convenient position so that I get a good grip, preventing me from dropping the small part into the printer. Finally, the lid can be removed by releasing the left locking tab with the tip of the screwdriver. The carriage lid and right retaining clip are shown here after being removed from the printer. Using the ruler, measure 4 3/4 inches from the left edge of the top cross member on the printer. This will give you the position of the right edge of the bridge bracket. Press the bracket down to adhere the Velcro to the printer. For orientation, note that the beige clip is on the top left of the bracket. Next, thread the CFS tubes under the cross member and bridge bracket. Then install the CFS assembly into the printer carriage. At this point, you can seat each of the cartridges into the carriage. The CFS tubes will need to be pulled up through the access hole and over the bridge bracket. They will ultimately run back to the right side of the printer. Install the 2 beige clips in line with the beige clip on the bridge bracket. 1 clip will be installed on the cross member, the second on the right edge of the top of the printer. Then close the clips onto the tubing. I prefer to install the clip so that the opening is to the back of the printer, as this is how the bridge bracket is assembled. Next, using your hands, push the printer carriage to the left and right extremes. The tubing should not create any drag on the carriage and should not pull tight at the right extent or hang up on the printer's top at the left extent. Also verify that when the carriage is all of the way to the right, that the tubes are not tight enough to pinch off flow or so loose that they droop into the printer. The tubing should make a gentle curve from the bracket to the right. Locate the CFS bottles and fill each of the bottles with ink. Ensure that the correct ink is poured into each bottle per the color position label on the CFS bottles. A mistake here will lead to the CFS assembly being incorrectly filled and ruin the unit. The bottles are attached to the right side of the printer with Velcro dots. Remove a Velcro dot from the protective film and stick it to the cyan bottle. The cyan bottle will be the first bottle installed and will be positioned at the front of the right side of the printer. Repeat with the remaining bottles. The final order from front to back will be cyan, magenta, light cyan, black, and yellow. Next, using your scissors, split the tubing to the right edge of the printer. Then, bring the frontmost tube up to the fitting of the cyan bottle to locate the best spot to trim the tube. The goal is to have the tube loose enough to allow for small adjustments, but tight enough so that it does not sag or loop. After trimming the tube, press it onto the fitting on top of the bottle. Repeat with the remaining tubes, noting that the tubes are in the same color order as the bottles. Locate the clear bottom fill adapters and screw an adapter onto each of the 6 syringes. Starting with the cyan cartridge, draw 2 syringefuls of air from the bottom of the cartridge. This will draw ink from the cyan bottle through the tubing and start filling the cartridge. It is important that the cartridge is not completely filled, as it needs to have a 1/4 to 1/2 inch air gap at the top for proper operation. Now, flip the CFS assembly right side up and use the syringe to draw 2 cc's of ink from the cyan cartridge. This will prime the cartridge. Repeat this procedure with the remaining color positions. To prevent contamination, use a new syringe with each cartridge. The ink that is pulled from the cartridge during priming is clean and can be returned to the bottle. When all of the cartridges are filled and primed, reinstall the CFS assembly into the printer carriage. The syringes can then be rinsed with warm water and air dried for storage. It is now time to plug the printer back into the wall outlet. Before turning the printer on, ensure that the carriage is pushed all of the way to the right, then press the power button. The carriage may move slowly left to right to recalibrate. This is normal. The printer is now ready to print. The printer may require 1 to 2 cleaning cycles to finish priming. I recommend printing a copy of the Purge 6 to verify that there is no banding and that the printer is functioning properly. If your printer continues to show banding after 2 cleaning cycles, allow it to sit for 2 to 3 hours, as this will allow any air trapped in the print head to be released into the cartridges. After allowing the printer to rest, retry the Purge 6 without running a cleaning cycle, as a 2 to 3 hour break typically is all that is needed. If you need any help or have questions about installing your CFS, please contact us at support@inksupply.com.